Hello, my dear cherubs. Normally, if we were not in a quarantine situation, I would be having you do a lot more with compare and contrast essays, but I'm going to not. And we're going to move on to our next unit of writing because we don't have as long of a marking period for marking period 4, and we definitely have fewer lessons together. So I really want to make sure that you have some skills for research-based writing. So at this point in the year, we've done narrative writing, we've done literary responses or literary essays, and now we're going to move on to research, which is the kind of writing that you're going to do a lot of as you move into high school and college and into careers. So we're going to start by talking about how to engage with the topic, and we're going to talk specifically about taking notes on a topic, and you're going to do a little bit of practicing today. The ultimate outcome or the ultimate goal of this unit is going to be for you to produce an informational book about a topic of interest to you. And you'll have some kind of conditions, but I'll explain all that later. So this is a research-based information writing unit. And yeah, let's get started. So, basically, informational writing is writing that is meant to teach someone about something. So, when you're writing an informational piece, your goal is to inform others about a topic. So, you want to kind of think of yourself as a journalist, as somebody who is researching information and then sharing that information in a way that's really clear and sensible to the listener. You want to make it simple for the person who you're explaining it to. Because think about when you read a complicated article, you usually just kind of give up a lot of times and are like, well, I'm not going to read that, it's too confusing. So you want to make it simple and approachable so that other people read what you have to say and understand. So your job is basically going to be to research specifically teen activists. And activists are people who are taking steps to make positive change in the world, for usually for some kind of a cause. So you're going to be researching young people just like you who are making a difference in the world for something that matters to them. So today what I want you to understand is that as you're gathering information about a topic, you want to basically be constantly ready to write down notes and to kind of record all the important information you get. So as it says here, the rhythm becomes like breathing. Breathe in and breathe out. Study and write. Study and write. So you're constantly going to be taking in new information and then writing down notes about what you find out. So let me show you kind of what you're going to be doing. So this is an example of a template for note taking that I created here. And what it looks like is basically a really simple um, table, but it's going to be helpful to you in taking notes. So I'm going to give you a form like this. It'll have lots of little miniature tables, and you're going to use one of these little mini tables for each article that you read. So I put in an example article here. This one, the article is called Faye Carey Reveals the Story Behind Saving Pets with Animal Rehome Waikato. So that's the title of the article. I would also want to put the name of the author in there. And then you're going to put basically any main ideas or big topics over here in the left, and then some of the details that might be important. For example, Faye Carey is from New Zealand, and she started in an organization for adopting pets, and the organization is called Animal Rehome Waikato. Now, if I was to keep reading the article, I'm sure I'd find more information to add into this table. So as you're reading, you want to be taking down those important items of note. So moving on here, what do you already know? So when you're learning about a topic, you can start by thinking about what you already know. For example, if you read a topic that talked about Martin Luther King, you have some background knowledge about who he is, but you'd need to take the time to read the article to get some of the extra details. Basically, if you were a real journalist, which some of you might be one day, you usually have very little time to get lots of information, especially if it comes to like listening to a lecture or watching a video. You're going to be listening and talking really quickly and trying to get all the stuff down. For example, imagine if you were listening to a video where I was the person talking. You guys know how fast I can talk. If you were trying to take notes on everything I was saying, you'd have to really try to move as quickly as possible, getting down as many important notes as you can. So this is a video about Malala Yousafzai, who many of you have probably heard of. She became quite well known because she stood up for the education of young women in her home country of Pakistan, and as a result, she was wounded. She was basically attacked by people who believed that she was wrong to want an education. And so this video is about her. And if we were in school, I'd make you watch it with me, but I'll just share this presentation so you can watch it on your own. But what you'd want to do is after you watch that video, while watching it, you'd want to take down as many notes as you can about the important things that she says. So when you watch the presentation, you'll see that there are some important items in here that you'd want to get down if you were taking notes. So I'm going to kind of skip over that because I want you to actually try and take the notes and get some information. Um, but if you were a journalist, you'd want to make sure you got some of this basic information down and make sure that it was accurate. You might have to watch the video a few times to make sure that you're not taking down information incorrectly or not getting all the details. So a journalist wants to make sure they're as accurate as possible with their information. So these are some of the things that I would take down after watching the video about Malala. Again, I'm going to skip over it quickly because I want you to actually try and take some notes and see if you can get all those details without looking at my little list. So when we're taking our notes, we want to make sure we're moving quickly, that we're recording exact facts in such as places, numbers. Don't just guess. If you're not sure what country Malala Yousafzai is from, go back and look and figure out how to spell it and make sure it's properly entered into your notes. Make sure that if you're putting something directly said by someone, that you put it in quotation marks and that you make sure you capture it exactly the way it was said. Make sure also to record your ideas too. So you might put a little reaction of yours in the margin of your notes. So eventually, as you get better at this, your notes might start to fall into categories. For example, here we have someone who took notes on Malala and wrote down a section about what happened to her, a section about what she's fighting for, and a section about what makes her special. So eventually, you might want to start organizing your notes into categories like that. So I would suggest that you kind of practice by watching some short informational videos and trying to take down the most important pieces of information that you can find. So your job for today is going to be to take a look at basically it's like an online bulletin board that I created for you using something called Wakelet. So I've shared it with you and it contains 3 articles. And what you're going to do is you're going to use the note-taking organizer that I provided, and you're going to look at the Wakelet articles, and you're going to take some basic notes, and you're going to practice taking down the most important information in each of the articles that you're given. Okay? So the other little bit of work that I want you to be thinking about is I want you to think about what topic you're most interested in writing about. Because what you're going to produce is, like I said at the beginning, you're going to produce something called an ebook, which is basically just an electronic book. And I'll provide you with some samples to show you what they would look like. But your ebook can be on any of the subjects listed here, so animal abandonment, bullying, child labor, environmental issues, or equality in education. If you're really passionate about another subject and want to write about that, that's okay with me. In fact, last year I had a lot of students who were interested in the rights of the LGBTQ community, which is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer. And so I actually created a topic for those students as well. So if you're interested in that topic, that's also an option. If there's something else on here that you're really passionate about, let me know, talk to me, and I'm happy to talk with you about maybe doing an ebook on something different. So I've also put some note-taking examples in here for you so you can see what they look like. If we were in class, I would spend a lot more time with you on different styles of note-taking, but you can check out this organizer and sort of see some of the options. These ones are snazzy. If I was more artistic, I would totally make notes like that. Oh my gosh, they're so cool looking. So basically, I hope this was somewhat clear. You're going to review this presentation, practice with that Malala video with just getting some basic notes down and seeing the kinds of things you should incorporate into your notes. Then you're going to get an organizer that will look like this one here. And then you're going to go to the Wakelet that I set up for you, and you'll go to this subject teen activism. I'll make it a direct link to the teen activism one. And I only put 3 articles in there, but I want you to take some notes about each article. So You're going to want to take notes on this one, how to become an activist. So you would go into your note taking here and you would put under title, how to become an activist. And you put it in quotes because it's an article. So how to become an activist. Then you would put in the main ideas and the details below. Now, realistically, what I would do is I would probably just start by doing a bulleted list under details, and then I would organize it after I read the article. But you do you. Basically, you want to make sure every section is filled out and that at the end you could make a short summary so that if you went home to your 97-year-old grandma and she said, "What's that article about that you read?" and her memory span is very short, you would be able to explain it in a couple of sentences. So that's going to be your assignment for today. I hope it makes sense. Feel free to come to office hours if you have any questions. I'm happy to help, and I'm excited about this unit. I think you will really enjoy researching, and you get a chance to talk about or research things that really matter to you, which is pretty super cool. So yeah, let's go to it, team.